Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for this evening's celebration. One of the most exciting events of our year, and certainly we hope that it has been, and if you have not been with us previously for this evening, it will become one of your favorite events of the spring as well. These are the 2023 Commitment to Equality Awards, and on behalf of the Committee to Promote Inclusion in the Profession of the State Bar of Georgia, I welcome you here to celebrate our honorees this evening. My name is Joshua Boson. I'm a member of the committee and have the great fortune of leading this wonderful conversation and ceremony this evening with you. The Committee to Promote Inclusion in the Professionalism is a committee that facilitates, analyzes, and presents for consideration initiatives and programs that increase participation, retention, and representation of diverse attorneys in the legal profession in Georgia that accurately reflect the makeup of our state. In this effort, the committee works towards the inclusion of lawyers who have been historically underrepresented in our legal population in Georgia. This evening, we have three very special sets of awards to give out. The highest honor of our committee is the Randolph W. Thrower Lifetime Achievement Award. This award recognizes an outstanding individual who has dedicated his or her career to the causes I just mentioned. We named the award after Randolph Thrower to honor the legacy of this iconic Georgia lawyer who epitomized commitment to equality and professionalism. As the initiator of the committee's forerunner, the Women and Minorities in the Profession Committee, Thrower's legacy lives on today. We also will be presenting this evening the Commitment to Equality Awards. These awards recognize the efforts of individuals, companies, and legal employers who are committed to providing opportunities that foster a more diverse legal profession for members of underrepresented groups in the state of Georgia. These awards are presented to lawyers who not only personally excel in their own practice, but who have demonstrated a commitment to promoting diversity in the legal profession. And then, as we welcome some of our newest members of the profession to recognize their efforts, we present the One to Watch Award. And these awards, which we began to give out only a couple of years ago as a proud project of the committee, are in recognition of efforts of young lawyers who are deeply committed to providing opportunities that foster a more diverse legal profession for members of underrepresented groups in the state. I'll take a quick moment of personal privilege to let you know that I also serve as chair of the State Bar of Georgia's Committee on Professionalism. And I find that there are many synergies between the two committees on which I so proudly have the opportunity to serve. And I wanted to just mention this evening the Supreme Court's aspirational statement on professionalism, because some of the ideals and aspirations that are contained in the statement are indicative
Michelle E.
and have mentored others in this space. The aspirational ideals say that as members of this great profession, we will be models for others. We will respect those individuals. We will avoid wrongful discrimination. We will preserve and improve the law, the legal system, for the common good. We will preserve the dignity and the integrity of our profession by our conduct and our words. And the dignity and the integrity of our profession is an inheritance that must be maintained by each successive generation of lawyers. To achieve the excellence of our craft, especially those that permit us to be the moral voice of clients to the public in advocacy, while being that same moral voice of the public to clients in counseling. And lastly, to practice law not just as a business, but as what it is for all of us, and that is a great calling in the spirit of public service. So I urge you to think about those ideals as we recognize the successes of our honorees tonight. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and begin with the presentation of our first award of the Randolph W. Thrower Lifetime Achievement Award to one of my dear friends and yours, Justice Verda M. Colvin of the Supreme Court of Georgia.
Justice Verda Colvin was appointed to the Georgia Supreme Court on July 20th of 2021 by Governor Brian Kemp. She is the first African-American female appointed by a Republican governor to the state's high court. Justice Colvin discovered her love for trial work early in her career as assistant solicitor in Athens, Clarke County. From there, she went on to serve as assistant general counsel to Clark Atlanta University and then as assistant district attorney in Clayton County. Before becoming a judge, Justice Colvin was an assistant United States attorney in the Middle District of Georgia, where she prosecuted a wide range of offenses from drug trafficking to white-collar crime. Justice Colvin was appointed to the Macon Circuit Superior Court by Governor Nathan Deal on March 24th of 2014.
Young ladies, whether anyone has ever told you before, you're special, you're uniquely made, stop acting like you're trash and putting pictures of yourself on the internet. Stop being disrespectful to your parents. Care about your future. Be somebody. Anybody can be nothing. It doesn't take anything to be nothing. Be something.
It was a 2016 address by Colvin to a group of students as part of a Consider the Consequences program for at-risk students that Justice Colvin was unaware was being recorded, went viral, and was viewed hundreds of thousands of times, picked up by local, national, and international media, and played by teachers for their students. In June of 2019, she was appointed to a state judicial commission. In March of 2020, Governor Brian Kemp appointed Colvin to the Georgia Court of Appeals. Once again, the state's first African-American female appointed to the Georgia Court of Appeals by a Republican governor. And then on July 20th of 2021, Justice Colvin was appointed to the Supreme Court of Georgia, to the seat vacated by Justice Harold Melton. Judge Colvin is committed to service professionally and personally. She is a member of several organizations and boards, is an adjunct professor at Mercer School of Law, and a member of the First Baptist Church, where she serves as a children's Sunday school teacher and on the Women's Ministry Leadership Team. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute our Randall Thrower Lifetime Achievement Award honoree, Justice Verda Colvin.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. When I was told by Ms. Gansey and I think someone else from Gavois, who I can't remember right now, that they nominated me for this award, I was floored, to be quite honest. I thought, number one, am I old enough to get a Lifetime Achievement Award? But it is my honor and my privilege to have served throughout my whole career in public service. To me, that's why I was born. That's why I was created. And it's not what we get in life, it's what we give that makes such a difference. And anything that I've done to help make our profession that much better, to pour into young advocates such as Ms. Siki, who appeared in my courtroom when I was in Superior Court. Anything I've done in that regard, it has been my honor, my privilege, and the story of a lifetime. So I'd like to thank my family for being here with me, who support all of my extra activities that I do, and they just say, go and do what you do. And so thank you all so much. This means so much coming from my colleagues. Thank you.
And now for the presentation of our second Randolph W. Thrower Lifetime Achievement Award to Michelle E. West, another friend to all of us here.
Michelle E. West is founder and principal of We Consults LLC, which provides coaching, consulting, and conflict resolution to assist individuals, teams, and groups in reaching their goals and desired personal, professional, and business outcomes. For more than a decade, Michelle has spoken at conferences across the country and has been a frequent contributor and organizer of continuing legal education programs. She currently speaks on leadership, mentoring, business strategies, professional and personal development, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. A former practicing attorney and Bar Association director with more than 20 years of experience, Michelle received her executive leadership coach training from the Georgetown University Institute for Transformational Leadership and is also certified in both mediation and arbitration. Michelle received her JD from Emory University School of Law and her BS in Foreign Service from Georgetown University, where she studied international law, relations, and organization, and received a certificate in Latin American Studies along with proficiency status in the Spanish language. She attended academic programs in Ecuador, Canada, Italy, Spain, and Costa Rica, and she taught English in Ecuador through the World Teach program. Michelle is the previous founder and owner of M. West Legal LLC, a general practice law firm, and formerly served the State Bar of Georgia as director of the Institute of Continuing Legal Education and director of Transition into Law Practice Program, or the Mentoring Program. She is a past president of the Georgia Association for Women Lawyers and previously served Gall as vice president and co-chair of the Leadership Committee, where she led and developed leadership curriculum for Gall's Leadership Academy. Michelle currently serves on the ABA Standing Committee on Public Protection and the Provision of Legal Services. Throughout her career, she has worked in various legal settings, ranging from small to large firms, nonprofit, public interest, in-house corporate, government sector, and solo practice, assisting clients with diverse backgrounds. Michelle finds true joy in helping others realize their true leadership potential. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute our Randall Thrower Lifetime Achievement Award honoree, Michelle E. West.
Good evening. I really didn't prepare anything, so you guys should run because you never know what I'm going to say, okay? Okay, so anyway, what I do want to say is I would like to thank the Georgia Association for Women Lawyers for their nomination. Thank you guys so much. I have enjoyed my membership. I have enjoyed being a president. I've just enjoyed the organization. It has been such a benefit and asset for me in my career. I want to thank the Committee to Promote Inclusion in the Profession for recognizing and acknowledging the value that I bring to the profession. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to thank my family, my friends, my husband, Bruce, and I want to just say thank you because without you guys, I wouldn't be here. Thank you for being my anchor. Thank you for being the ground that lifts me up and allows me to fly. Thank you. And so in putting all that together, you guys, it's about the village, right? So I say thank you to the Commitment to Promote Inclusion. I say thank you to the Georgia Association for Women Lawyers. I say thank you to my friends and family. But what I'm saying thank you to is a village, because it took a village for me to get here. And for me to be before you today, just being so grateful for this opportunity. And so I say thank you. Thank you to my village. You guys are such an amazing tribe. I couldn't do it without you. So one thing I want to say in leaving is, when we look at equality, you guys, it's people are people. I say it all the time. People are people. So if you are ever in a room and you feel like you don't want to go inside, you're not sure, you don't know if you're going to be accepted, I challenge you, walk through that door. And if you are ever sitting in a room and you're sitting at a table, right, and you're sitting there among the elite, and somebody's standing outside the door looking in, invite them in. We are all the same. It is the humanity in us that makes us all great. So we must remember that, because it's all about people are people, and because of that, we are all equal. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, let's move on to the presentation of the Commitment to Equality Awards. Our first award will be presented to someone who I have had the chance to work with in a lot of state bar activities, and that is Terica Redfield Gansey.
Terica Redfield Gansey is Executive Director of the Southern Center for Human Rights, where she leads the SCHR team in carrying out its mission to dramatically transform the criminal legal system through direct representation, impact litigation, policy advocacy, and public education. Prior to becoming Executive Director, Terica served in several different roles at the Southern Center, most recently as Deputy Director, helping to coordinate the organization's strategy and programs. She also served as Development Director, designing and leading the Southern Center's development strategy and building strategic partnerships. For 9 years, she worked as a staff attorney in the Southern Center for Human Rights Capital Litigation Unit, where her work focused on representing clients on death row in Georgia and Alabama. For 5 years, she also served as the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers Death Penalty Resource Council, providing training and resources to capital defense attorneys throughout the nation. Terica is a member of Leadership Atlanta Class of 2022, a graduate of Leadership Clayton. She also serves as Vice President of the State Bar of Georgia's Professionalism Committee and as a member of the State Bar's Seeking Equal Justice and Addressing Racism and Racial Bias Committee, and currently serves as the President of the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute Terica Redfield Gansey.
Thank you to all of you for being here tonight. I am truly, truly honored. I would say that none of us who are getting awards tonight or who have gotten awards in the past thought about getting awards when we were doing any of the work that has led us here tonight. We have done this work regardless of awards, regardless of recognition, but it sure does feel good. It sure does feel good to be recognized in front of your friends and family, and so I'm really honored to be here tonight. I would like to dedicate this award to my grandmother, who passed away last year at the age of 103. Yes. She is my constant inspiration. She worked all of her life in Mississippi as a maid, cleaning up after other people's children and their families. But she knew something about her worth. She knew that her worth wasn't equated with her job title. She knew that she was worthy of equality and dignity and respect. And so when civil rights organizers came to her hometown and they asked for people to volunteer to register to vote, she raised her hand and said, "Here I am, send me." And I don't have to tell you the kind of courage that took for my grandmother to volunteer, to risk her life, to take a step to make our lives better, to demand to be treated equally, to demand the respect that she deserved and that her family deserved. And so I consider the work that I do in direct relationship to her, to her legacy that she has left for me. I am trying to walk in her footsteps. I'm trying to be just as brave, just as bold, just as committed to helping my fellow man and woman people. And so I wanted to lift her up tonight in front of this group because I believe that she represents so much about what these awards are about. And I also want to dedicate this award to my former clients, many of whom I met when they were on death row. I came to the work of criminal defense, particularly representing people on death row in Georgia and Alabama, out of anger. I was really mad about the injustice in the criminal legal system. I was mad about the racism. I was mad about the classism. But my clients taught me that there's another motivation, and that motivation is love. They taught me what it means to build relationships with people who don't often have people who are willing to build relationships with them. They taught me that love is enduring in ways that anger is not. And so, yes, I still do get mad, but I also lean into, I am doing this work out of love. And so, finally, I want to dedicate this award to all the young folks who are thinking about law school, who are thinking about their careers, and who are wondering what is next for them. And I would just say to them, choose you. I remember being in those seats, wondering what step I should take. And I remember having a job at a large law firm and one that didn't pay that much. And I remember talking to my parents and saying, hey, I'm thinking I'm going to take this job that pays me $30,000. And my parents looked at me and was like, what? You worked this hard, went to this great school to come out and make $30,000? And I said, yes. And it was hard for me because I grew up, my parents were teachers. We didn't have a whole lot of money, but we were middle class. And so I was the first lawyer in my family. And there was not an expectation, but I felt an obligation to support my family in ways that $30,000 was not going to let me. But I talked to a Supreme Court justice on the Maine Supreme Court, and she said, Terica, if you choose your passion, everything else will come. And so my advice to young folks who are thinking about their next step is to choose your passion. It's okay to choose you, because everything else will come. And so thank you all for being here tonight to support all of us. I really am honored, I am floored, honestly, that I have been chosen for this award, and I feel really, really humbled and grateful tonight. Thank you.
I'm always reminded of the inspiration that you get at these award ceremonies. I mean, it's like free tidbits for life. All right, the next award that we have to present this evening is for Bobby Wu, partner at King & Spalding, and we are very pleased to present him with the next Commitment to Equality Award.
Over nearly 3 decades, Robert Bobby K. Wu has championed the advancement of diversity in the legal industry. As an Asian American attorney, Bobby has pushed boundaries and broken barriers throughout his career. He's a former summer associate who rose through the ranks to become the first Asian Pacific American partner in his firm, King & Spalding LLP's history. With more than 25 years of experience in state and federal court, Bobby has represented pharmaceutical and medical device manufacturers in some of the largest mass torts in the last quarter century. Bobby is active in pro bono representation, and in 2000, he received the H. Saul Clark Award, the highest pro bono award given by the State Bar of Georgia to an individual. Bobby is active in the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association, which awarded him the Daniel K. Inouye Trailblazer Award, their highest honor in 2002. Bobby also received the inaugural Judge Alvin T. Wong Pioneer Award from the Georgia Asian Asian Pacific American Bar Association for his leadership in the Georgia APA legal community. He is a past co-president of CAPABA and the current vice president of the Law Foundation. In 2021, Bobby was voted by his peers as one of the best lawyers in America, and of course, has the designation as one of Georgia's super lawyers. We shouldn't be surprised at Bobby's success. He literally has been a star since day one. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute Robert Bobby K. Wu.
That's great.
Well, that is hilarious. I have to give Vince credit for digging that up. He clearly did his research beyond the pictures that I sent him. But I do want to thank you guys. I mean, you talk about being humbled. I am completely humbled by the folks who have received this and other awards tonight, and to hear their life stories just makes me feel like I should be one of the youngest, people to watch, and let's see what they might do later on. But I am grateful to be here because if nothing else, it gives me an opportunity to thank some people who have just been so wonderful to me in my career. Starting with Harold Franklin. I know a lot of y'all know Harold. He's been at King & Spalding for almost as long as I have. And when he came to the firm, he and I were matched up as a mentor-mentee pair. And I'm so proud to watch him grow from that to become a partner and now the head of our diversity committee at King & Spalding and doing a terrific job. The other folks I want to thank are all my friends here from GAPABA. If King & Spalding is my professional home, then GAPABA is really my community. That's the Georgia Asian Pacific American Bar Association. Started almost exactly 30 years ago by Judge Wong and Natsu Sato. As they tell it, they built the organization just by going to the state bar directory and looking for any Asian names and calling them up to find out if they wanted to join. And according to Judge Wong, he met a lot of Asians he never knew by doing so. He also met a lot of descendants of Robert E. Lee, who were not, not Asian, but glad to get the call. But in any event, I do want to thank all my family and friends who are here from that, including Bonnie Yoon, who a lot of y'all know. She and I went to my very first GAPABA event together, way back when we could all fit around just 2 tables at Oriental Pearl. And now we're headed to the 30th gala, which should be hundreds, maybe 500 people there. So in any event, thank you all very much. I am, again, grateful for this and very humbled by the company that I'm in. Take care.
All right, speaking of our One to Watch awards, I'm very pleased to present the next award to Nayonawea Siki.
Noie Siki is the founding owner of the Siki Law Firm, a criminal defense and immigration firm located in Macon, Georgia. Prior to hanging her shingle, Ms. Siki served as an assistant public defender, representing clients charged with felonies facing over 20 years in prison on average. There, she also served on the mental health court and family violence alternative court treatment teams, advocating for clients who often suffer from dual diagnosis of mental illness and drug addiction. Noie is a respected advocate for issues of social justice and equality, including racial justice, women's rights, immigration, and criminal justice, both locally and nationwide. She is an active member of the State Bar of Georgia's Seeking Equal Justice and Addressing Racism and Racial Bias Committee, where she helped design programming and content for the State Bar's website. Noye also serves as the chair of the Macon Bar Association's Diversity and Inclusion Committee. She's a member and officer of the Georgia Legal Service Program Board of Directors, been highly involved with the State Bar of Georgia's Young Lawyers Division, and is an avid volunteer with the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, of which she has been a member since law school and is currently serving as the Macon Regional Area Vice President. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute the one to watch, Noye Siki.
Good evening, everyone. I am so honored to be here this evening and to just be amongst colleagues, peers, to be around lawyers and friends and just people that I have looked up to. I feel as though sometimes, especially with being a young lawyer, some of the things that we see or that I've seen, I wouldn't expect to still see in 2023 and have to address, and it can be, nerve-wracking and daunting to speak up because, especially when it's coming from judges or other attorneys who have practiced for a long time and seem to be, have a lot more power and a lot more, a lot more accolades behind their names. But when I receive nominations for something like this, or even just encouragement, or serve on committees and boards and see people in the room like Terica or like Justice Colvin, it's reassuring, and it lets me know that I'm doing things correctly and that I'm taking the right steps. So I just want to thank you all for this recognition tonight. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank my family. I'm so glad to be joined this evening by my husband, my younger sister, and my mom. Even though, like I said, speaking up can be daunting sometimes, and it does take courage, I remember at the end of the day that nothing really that I do will take as much courage as what my parents did coming over from Liberia to the U.S. to take a chance on giving me and my siblings a better life and a better opportunity. So thank you all.
And for our final One to Watch award of the evening, I'd like to invite up and honor Raymond Tran, one of our colleagues at Seyfarth Shaw.
Raymond L. Tran is a multifaceted champion, both as an outstanding talent in his real estate practice and as an incomparable leader within the Asian, Pacific American, and broader Atlanta communities. Raymond is an associate at Seyfarth Shaw LLP, where he contributes to Seyfarth's real estate, blockchain, and international practices. In less than 5 short years of his practice, Raymond has become the preferred associate to service segments of complex deals. He is the Atlanta office's Diversity and Inclusion Action Team lead, the only associate at the firm to have that role. A graduate of Emory University School of Law, Raymond is an engaged leader in countless civic and community activities. He is a former secretary of the Georgia Asian Pacific American Bar Association and has made significant contributions to GAPA-BA programming, creating and organizing panels, practice sessions, workshops, and talks that captivates audiences and greatly benefit law students and young attorneys. A tireless mentor and coach, he volunteers extensively with a long list of bar associations and pro bono initiatives, from organizing Black History Month projects to combating anti-Asian hate and everything in between. Raymond Tran is blazing a trail of understanding, education, mentorship, service, and support at his firm and in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute the one to watch, Raymond L. Tran.
Thank you. I don't really do humble, but no, I am genuinely humbled this evening. I did want to just quickly shout out / acknowledge / maybe embarrass 3 people today, and I'll start with the first one. As a 1L, I was very intentional about learning from people who were doing the things that I wanted to do. And the most famous person that I could think of at the time that people at Emory Law would tell me to like Google was Bobby Wu. So I emailed him. And it does not escape me at all that I was lucky enough to be in law school at a time where Googling a Bobby Wu was a thing. I had him, the entire nation of lawyers of GAPABA, the Georgian Asian Pacific American Bar Association, and a whole bunch of other lawyers here in Georgia that looked nothing like me that I could reach out to for guidance. Bobby probably doesn't remember that email, and that's because Bobby never responded to it. But today I can announce the conclusion of an 8-year-long wait since that email. Because this year, when I served on the GAPABA Law Foundation board with Bobby, I finally received an email from Bobby. It was an email with an attached document with a red line with edits, and I said, yes, I finally learned from Bobby. So it's very easy to find mentors and champions in your corner when you're winning or when you're getting an award. What's really rare is to find someone that will be there with you in your corner when you're not in the running for anything, or when you're down, or when you've just had a slate of a bunch of OCI callbacks and all of the law firms that you're talking to are telling you, you know, you might need 2 buttons, your shoes are a little outdated. But Tamron Houston has had season tickets to the Raymond Tran show from day 1. And as much as I appreciate her during peak moments like this, I am truly most grateful for her during those moments when she really shows how deeply committed she is to my success. And usually that's when I'm at a low point. During those times, she'll come into my office, close my doors, and she'll give me a figurative, swift kick in the butt and tell me, okay, that sucked. You could do better. Shake it off. I am but a very humble member of Destiny's Child. And my successes are only made possible by Tamron being the Beyonce. And some of you heard my speech in February. I do not yield the title of being the Beyonce to anyone on this planet except for 2 people. The first person is Beyonce herself. And the second one is Tamron. And the last set of people I'd like to acknowledge are my parents, who are not here today. Before they were teenagers, they had to flee war-torn countries, dodge bullets, bombs, napalm, refugee camps. And my mother would share with me and my brother the story of her first job when she arrived in America. Her first job was to clean restrooms, right? She would say, cleaning toilets. And after her classes, she would start at the high school that she attended. A very special kind of cruelty when you had to clean the restroom that your classmates might see you in. My mom would share that on her best days, some of her classmates might just laugh at her and snicker. And on her worst days, they would soil the toilet paper on purpose to throw at her. My mother never told me and my brother that story to guilt us into feeling that we had it so much better than her. But she told it to us, and I'm sharing it to you all today because she really meant to impress on my brother and I that sometimes the opportunity to make things better for those that will come after you require you to really just have to face a lot of other people's mess. She didn't use that word. But really require you to deal with other people's mess being thrown at you. So thank you to the State Bar for this award. The integrity and promise of our profession and what we do is not guaranteed. And it takes all of us doing a lot of work outside of our real jobs as lawyers, rolling up our sleeves and really finding the opportunity in all of the mess to make things better for those that will come after us. So thank you all. And thank you.
Before we begin to wrap up for the evening, I'd like to make a special presentation to one of our committee members. We have been very fortunate to have in our presence throughout the course of many years someone who is incredibly dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion in the law in the state of Georgia, both in his professional endeavors, but also in the work that he has committed himself to in terms of the education and growth of our young population in the state. This individual single-handedly has put together a program through the work of our committee where he has increased the visibility of the state bar on college campuses across Georgia, in particular HBCU campuses, where we have opportunities that exist for greatness and that remain untapped. And so we have been working very diligently to find ways to meet new lawyers and to create new interest in this great profession that we all hold so dear. And for that reason, we would like to present a special award of excellence and recognition to our 2023 Committee Member of the Year, and that is Ira Foster.
I did not know that I was going to be receiving this award, and so I don't have anything scripted to say other than the fact that I want to thank this committee for recognizing the work that I'm doing with the Roadmap to Law School project. About 2 years ago, I was asked by my undergraduate universities, Fort Valley State University, to do a law school outreach program for the university. And so one Saturday night when I was preparing for that workshop, I read some information from the American Bar Association that showed that the number of black attorneys in the United States is currently at 4.7%. Our numbers for black attorneys has decreased from 5.0 about 10 years ago to 4.7. So when I read that information that night, that resonated with me, that motivated me, it encouraged me, and I felt I needed to do something. And so in turn, I was inspired to create what is called the Roadmap to Law School project, where over the last 2 years, I have gone all over the state of Georgia, including Savannah to visit Savannah State, Albany to visit Albany State, Fort Valley to visit Fort Valley State, and this year we did a roadmap program at Clark Atlanta University. Over the last 2 years, over 700 students, black students, have attended those workshops, and I'm hopeful that the work that we've done will inspire black college students to consider law school so that we can bridge that gap, because it's not acceptable in the United States for the number of black attorneys to be declining instead of increasing, because as we all know, the fabric of this country is diversity and inclusion. So we've got to bridge that gap. We've got to increase the number of black attorneys. We've got to bridge that gap and ensure that in the next 20 years that the Bar Association will be reflective of what this country is all about. And again, that's diversity and inclusion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ira. Before we conclude for the evening, I'd just like to thank our sponsors with whom this evening would not be possible. Barnes & Thornburg, C.K. Hoffler Firm, the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, the Georgia Association for Women Lawyers, King & Spalding, and Seyfarth Shaw. We have had a wonderful slate of event volunteers and committee members, and I'd like to spend just a second thanking each of them. We could not have done this tonight without all of their support, and we appreciate them very much. We also appreciate the support of our vendors, Don Morgan Photography, the individuals who've helped us create these fabulous awards, Alicia Hargrove, one of our fearless leaders, who zhuzhed up this typically boring room tonight for all of us to enjoy. Serendipity Catering, and of course, as always, Vince, who fearlessly leads us through the preparation and presentation of our videos each and every year. Finally, we'd like to thank the State Bar of Georgia and the State Bar staff, an invaluable resource to each of us. I hope that you've been inspired tonight. I hope that you've learned something, and I hope that you walk away from this evening with a new spirit and are reminded of the importance of the work that we do in our communities. And I hope you take that as we walk into the spring, the season of new birth, and breathe new life into the work that you're doing in the community to support our efforts and the efforts of all of us. Thank you, and have a nice evening.